The alert hit Commander Lyra Hale's desk at 0400 hours, a thin red line pulsing across her holodeck as the final telemetry packet arrived. She stood alone in the dim operations chamber, the screens around her still waking from standby. Her eyes followed the last clean trail of the refugee convoy as it crossed into Council space, then the sudden void where the signals ended, as if erased mid-flight. No debris. No distress call. Just silence. Lyra's jaw tightened. Human refugee ships didn't vanish. Someone had intervened, deliberately, precisely, confidently. "Route the raw data to my console," she said, voice steady. A soft chime confirmed the transfer. The projections unfolded, transponder logs, heat signatures, shield fluctuations. Everything lined up cleanly until the convoy entered Sector C-54. Then a spike. A shadow. A distortion pattern that didn't belong to civilian space traffic. The pattern belonged to military interdiction. She didn't curse. She didn't shout. Outrage wasn't useful. She simply shifted her weight, leaned forward, and replayed the moment again, slower. 3 unknown craft appeared in a tight triangle formation, matching the convoy's velocity. Not pirate ships. Not raiders. These were clean, symmetrical silhouettes with high-density cores. Council enforcement vessels. Lyra locked the feed. Open channel to the Galactic Council. Priority level crimson. Moments later, a layered hologram formed, resolving into High Chancellor Varric Thal. His crest shimmered with the polished arrogance of someone who believed he controlled every conversation he entered. "Commander Hale," he intoned smoothly. "Your urgency is noted. How may the Council assist Earth today?" Lyra didn't sit. "One of our refugee convoys disappeared after entering your jurisdiction. I need immediate confirmation of their status." Thal blinked with forced patience. "The Council monitors its borders thoroughly. If your people sought asylum, they would be processed through the proper channels. There is no record of interference with any human vessel." She projected the intercepted sensor feed in front of him. His expression didn't crack, but his crest faltered by a fraction. "These signatures match Council enforcement craft," Lyra said. "Explain why they intercepted an unarmed humanitarian convoy." "Your analysis is mistaken," Thal replied coolly. "Our ships would never see civilians. The Council upholds galactic law." "Then provide their location." "I cannot provide what does not exist." The channel cut without transition. A dismissal. Not even a pretense of cooperation. Lyra shut off the display, letting the darkness settle. The Council was lying. Openly. Confidently. That confidence was the most alarming part. She turned as Admiral Rourke entered the chamber, pulling on his uniform jacket. "I saw the transmission," he said. He didn't even attempt subtlety. "He thinks we'll swallow it," Lyra replied. "Most would," Rourke muttered. "The Council's influence keeps a lot of worlds quiet." Lyra brought up the convoy's passenger manifest. Over 300 people, technicians, children, elderly, medics. They had fled a frontier collapse with the expectation of reaching a neutral sanctuary. Humans didn't abandon their own. They absolutely did not lose them inside someone else's territory. "Get intelligence on standby," she said. "I want a full-spectrum sweep of illegal Council activities from the last 3 cycles." Rourke nodded. "Understood." Before he could leave, a secondary alarm flared, a private encryption key flashing at the bottom of Lyra's interface. "Unknown origin. Triple rotating frequency." Someone who knew exactly how to avoid Council jammers. Lyra accepted it. A distorted voice broke through. "If you're receiving this, we don't have much time." Static washed over the image before it cleared enough to reveal a human face, dirty, exhausted, but unmistakably alive. "Refugee." Lyra stepped closer. "Identify yourself." "Engineer Lyra Seth. Convoy designation H-91. The Council took us. They didn't process us, they diverted us." forced reroute into a restricted zone. Where are you now? Lyra kept her tone level, but her pulse sharpened. A labor moon, Lyra whispered. Industrial extraction site. We're being sorted into work sectors. Families separated. Some injured. We're guarded constantly. They said Earth would never find us. Rourke froze mid-breath. Lyra asked, how did you escape surveillance to send this? One of the older service conduits wasn't patched. But they'll detect this transmission in minutes. Lyora's expression cracked. Commander, please, don't negotiate. They won't release us. They need leverage. The feed glitched hard, colors fragmenting. Lyra. Lyra snapped. Coordinate position. Uploading, now. Please. Come fast. The signal collapsed. Coordinates appeared in red. Rourke exhaled slowly. That's deep inside Council industrial space. A labor moon, for humans. Lyra shut the holodable and let the room fall silent. The next move felt inevitable. Send these coordinates to Global Accord Command, she ordered. Flag with absolute priority. And prepare Fleet Legion 9. I want readiness within the hour. Rourke hesitated only once. This could escalate beyond a recovery mission. It already has, Lyra said. They abducted civilians. They lied to our face. The Council made their choice. She walked toward the central tactical map. Her boots echoed softly in the cavernous chamber. We're bringing our people home, she murmured. And every hand that enabled this will answer for it. Rourke gave a grim nod. Operation Retribution, then? Yes, she said. Exact parameters? Whatever you define them to be. Lyra's expression didn't shift, but something cold and resolute settled behind her eyes, a quality every fleet officer feared and revered. When Lyra Hale accepted a mission, she finished it. Completely. She opened a secure channel to Global Accord Command. The Council of Earth's senior leaders appeared instantly, faces drawn with tension. Lyra transmitted the full evidence, the convoy's disappearance, the intercepted signatures, Lyra Seth's message. There were no objections. No political hesitation. Only a single approving nod from the High Marshal. Commander Hale, he said, Earth authorizes Operation Retribution under full autonomous command. Recover our citizens. Neutralize all threats. Do not seek diplomacy. Do not request permission. Lyra inclined her head. Understood. The channel closed. The decision was made. Across the dawnlit span of Earth fleet staging docks, engines awakened. Carriers pivoted on magnetic rails. Gunship wings aligned. Automated loaders secured containment pods and strike drones. Technicians moved with practiced urgency, knowing an operation of this scale had only one motive. Human lives were in danger. Lyra stepped into the command lift as the deck vibrated under the growing hum of warship reactors. The doors slid shut, sealing her in quiet isolation. The weight of responsibility settled around her shoulders, but it didn't crush her. It defined her. When the lift opened onto the bridge of Aegis Prime, her officers rose. She took her seat. Set course, she said. We enter their space through the silent corridor. No broadcasts. No warnings. Yes, Commander, the helm officer replied. Lyra placed her palm on the armrest scanner. Fleet Legion 9 synchronized instantly with her command signature. The fleet awaited her next breath. For every life taken, she said quietly, we answer. The stars stretched into streaks as Aegis Prime jumped. The retribution of humanity had begun. The silent corridor stretched before Fleet Legion 9 like a dark artery, a region of distorted subspace where most vessels refused to travel. Council ships avoided it due to unstable gravimetric pressure. Humans, in contrast, had mapped every unpredictable fold over 30 years. They didn't fear the corridor, they mastered it. Commander Lyra Hale stood at the Aegis Prime's forward viewport as the fleet glided through the shimmering haze. No lights. No broadcasts. Only the faint hum of stealth modules masking their signatures. Every officer moved with controlled urgency, voices low, actions measured. Gravimetric conditions holding steady, the navigation officer reported. We remain undetected. Lyra nodded. Maintain formation. No energy spikes. On her secondary display, three-dimensional projections of the corridor's eddies pulsed like veins of molten glass. Navigating them required absolute precision. But the fleet moved flawlessly, drifting through shadows like a single organism guided by her intent. Admiral Rourke approached from the tactical station. We'll cross into Council surveillance territory in 17 minutes. Their sensors won't track us immediately, but once we initiate action, everything changes. We're not here to posture, Lyra said. We retrieve our people and dismantle whatever structure made their abduction possible. If the Council wants escalation, we respond decisively. Rourke studied her for a beat. You're remarkably calm. Lyra's voice softened but carried steel beneath. Calm is not weakness. It's focus. Before he could reply, an alert flared across the tactical display. Unmarked listening post ahead, the officer announced. Not on any registered map. Emissions faint, but consistent with covert Council surveillance. Lyra analyzed the visual, a small station tucked behind a fractured rock cluster, camouflaged by debris and silent engines. They built a blind spot. Rourke frowned. Monitoring traffic through the corridor they pretend not to use. Lyra issued her command without hesitation. Prepare a precision strike. I want the station disabled, not destroyed. Her officers moved instantly. Within a minute, the fleet's forward drones deployed, slender black constructs drifting through the void like shards of night. They aligned with the listening post's thermal exhaust, forming a triangular net. On your mark, Commander, the weapons chief said. Lyra raised her hand, then lowered it. The drones pulsed once. 3 silent bursts flickered. The station's lights died, engines shut down, and every sensor went black in perfect synchrony. No fire. No explosion. Just sudden, complete darkness. Rourke exhaled slowly. We just blinded the Council inside their own territory. Good, Lyra replied. They shouldn't see what comes next. The fleet continued forward. As they emerged into clear space, the industrial moon appeared on long-range scans, a heavily shielded sphere wrapped in metallic scaffolds, orbiting a dead planet. It looked more like a prison than a factory, its surface dotted with harsh floodlights and towering extraction rigs. Lyra narrowed her eyes. This is where they hid them. Confirmed, the sensor officer said. Human biosignatures matching the convoy registry detected across multiple facility blocks. The bridge fell silent. Even seasoned officers felt a shift, shock, anger, disbelief intertwining with grim resolve. Rourke clenched his fists. Enslaving refugees under a humanitarian treaty. They'll never recover from this. They won't get the chance, Lyra answered. Prepare entry teams. Cut comms, override local controls, and isolate the camps. Yes, Commander. The fleet broke formation. Strike craft detached and streaked toward the moon in controlled silence. Their engines left no visible trail. Only shadows moved across the void. Minutes later, the first strike team transmitted readiness. Lyra activated the command channel. Teams 1 through 7, proceed. Priority, extraction and safety. Do not engage unless necessary. Acknowledged, came Captain Marek's voice. Deploying breachers now. Footage streamed to Lyra's console, armored human operatives descending along shielded corridors, cutting through reinforced doors with tactical precision. Drones slipped ahead, mapping patrols, intercepting communications, disabling alarms. Inside the facility, conditions were worse than Lyra's transmission suggested. Crowded bunks. Injured workers. Security drones patrolling with stun lances glowing in eerie blue. Overseers watching from reinforced balconies. The air carried a haze from overworked machinery and exhaust vents. Lyra felt her jaw harden. Every frame deepened her resolve. Captain Merrick spoke sharply through comms. "Commander, we've secured Sector 3. Refugees located. Conditions severe." A frail voice in the background cried out, "Is it really you? Did Earth come?" Lyra answered directly, her voice projecting through Marek's visor. "We're here. You're going home." Merrick glanced at the trembling survivors. "Orders? Stabilize them. Move them to extraction points. No one stays behind." Before the refugees could process her words, a commotion erupted near the overseer balcony. An alien officer attempted to activate a manual alert. "Disable him," Lyra instructed. A breacher's pull shot cracked through the feed. The overseer collapsed, weapons skittering across the metal floor. Lyra addressed Merrick again. "Capture high-ranking staff alive. I want answers." "Yes, Commander." As the extraction expanded, other teams secured additional sectors. Conditions varied, but the pattern was consistent: forced labor, harsh rations, restricted movement. Then Team 5 reported something unexpected. "Commander, we found restricted archives beneath the facility," their lead operative said. "Encrypted consoles labeled with Council clearance sigils. Open them." The operative inserted a decryption node. The consoles flickered, revealing communication logs, transport manifests, and classified directives. Rourke leaned closer to the screen. "This looks coordinated. Not a rogue cell." The operative nodded. "The orders came from the Chancellor's office." Lyra's expression turned cold. "Varric Thal." She scanned the documents. It was all there: transport diversion authorizations, secrecy directives, forced labor assignments. Not a mistake. Not an accident. A sanctioned operation. Rourke exhaled sharply. "The Council is finished." "Only if the galaxy sees this," Lyra replied. "Preserve everything. We broadcast when we secure our people." Suddenly a warning flashed across the bridge. "Inbound Council patrols," the sensor officer called out. "Multiple interceptors approaching. They detected something." "They'll reach the moon in 7 minutes," Rourke said. Lyra lifted her head. "Then we finish in 6. On the facility feed, Marek's team gathered the last group of refugees, guiding them through a dim corridor toward the extraction lift. The children moved unsteadily, some carried by soldiers in armor 10 times their weight. Injured workers leaned on medics, their faces gaunt but hopeful. "We're overloaded, Commander," Merrick warned. "We'll need staggered transports. Send the first group. Reinforcements inbound. Keep moving." On the tactical map, Earth gunships repositioned above the moon, shields rising like silent guardians. They remained unseen but ready. Rourke turned to Lyra. "We'll have to confront the patrols. No other choice." "I know." She shifted her attention to the helm. "Prepare the fleet for controlled engagement. Disable them quickly. No fatal shots unless unavoidable." "We'll be outnumbered," Rourke cautioned. Lyra's gaze didn't waver. "They're not ready for us." As the fleet tightened formation, the first group of refugees rose from the moon's surface aboard extraction craft. The second followed minutes later. The Council patrols accelerated, unaware of the quiet storm awaiting them. Lyra activated fleet-wide command. "Everyone listens," she said, her voice steady and unyielding. "We hold the line. We protect our people. And we show the Council exactly what moving against humanity costs." The stars shifted as Earth's warships advanced. Retribution had reached the doorstep. Council interceptors burst from hyperslip with weapons primed, their silver hulls cutting sharp arcs across the moon's orbit. They expected a search operation, maybe a stray pirate vessel. Instead, Earth's fleet awaited them in cold formation, silent and unyielding. On the Aegis Prime's bridge, Commander Lyra Hale studied the tactical map. Red signatures spread across the screen, dozens of Council fighters, a handful of corvettes, and one command frigate pushing to the front. They moved aggressively, confident in their authority. Lyra tapped the comm fleet Legion 9, initiate shield bloom pattern. No one fires until I give the order. The helm confirmed, and the fleet shifted into a seamless arc, shields overlapping into a translucent barrier. The Council ships slowed, unsure of what they were facing. A transmission flashed through. The alien commander appeared, scales shimmering with agitation. Unidentified fleet, you have violated Council territory. Power down weapons and prepare for boarding. Lyra remained standing, arms behind her back. Your forces seized human civilians. Step aside or be disabled. You dare threaten the Council, the alien hissed. You have no jurisdiction here. We have humans here, Lyra replied. That's enough jurisdiction. Rourke smothered a dark smile at her side. The Council commander tried puffing himself up. Withdraw immediately, or... Lyra cut the link. Weapons, target engines only. Prepare to engage. The officers moved instantly. Earth didn't saber-rattle. There were no theatrics. When humans made a threat, they carried it out. The Council patrol opened fire first. Blue bolts hammered against the overlapping shields, dispersing into sparks. Earth's fleet held position, unmoved. Return fire, Lyra ordered. A synchronized volley flashed across the void, precise pulses, calculated trajectories. Each struck an engine cluster or a propulsion manifold. One by one, the Council ships spun out of formation, drifting powerless. Within 40 seconds, the enemy fleet was disarmed. Rourke exhaled. Textbook execution. Lyra replied, prepare for the next wave. Next wave? He asked. She pointed at the expanding sensor echoes. The patrol was only the beginning. Reinforcements were converging. But so were Earth's extraction craft. Commander, Captain Merrick transmitted from the moon's surface, final groups secured. Preparing last lift. In the background, refugees murmured anxiously, fear, relief, disbelief mixing in their voices. Lyra spoke directly to them. This is Commander Hale. You're safe now. Stay with the officers escorting you. We're taking you home. A child's voice answered faintly, you really came. Always, Lyra said. As the final lift broke free of the moon's gravity well, Council reinforcements arrived, 2 cruisers and a blockade carrier. Far more dangerous than the initial patrol. Rourke leaned forward. We can't disable that carrier with non-lethal shots alone. Their hull is reinforced. We don't need to destroy them, Lyra said. We just need to remove their options. She activated fleet-wide commands. Interdictor wing, lock their jump routes. EMP lances on my mark. Do not aim at life support sections. The blockade carrier moved closer, energy shrouds crackling. A deep, resonant horn blasted from its comm array, an intimidation display. Lyra didn't blink. Mark. Earth's ships fired. Invisible waves rippled through space, slamming into the carrier's shield core. The gargantuan vessel staggered in its trajectory, lights flickering. Its jump engines died instantly. The cruisers fared no better, their guidance systems shorted, leaving them drifting helplessly beside the moon they were supposed to protect. Carrier neutralized, the weapons chief reported. Rourke shook his head with quiet awe. We just crippled a Council detachment without taking a single life. That's the message, Lyra said. We want our people, not a war. If they choose war after this, that's their decision. The last extraction ship docked with Aegis Prime, and med teams rushed aboard. Lyra stepped away from the viewport and moved to the medical bay, where the first wave of refugees had already been processed. Inside, the lights were soft, the air warm. Medics worked quickly. Children huddled against their parents. Older refugees lay on cots receiving fluids. Many stared at Lyra as she approached, not with fear, but with stunned relief. Lyra Seth, the engineer who sent the distress message, sat propped against a diagnostic unit. She managed a tired smile. "You came faster than I expected." "You gave us what we needed," Lyra replied. "The transmission saved hundreds." Lyra's expression faltered. "There were more, other workers. Not all human. The Council has been doing this for years." "We have all their data," Lyra assured. "We won't let it stay buried." Before Lyra could respond, an alert chimed through the ship. "Commander Hale," the comm officer called, "incoming transmission from High Chancellor Varric Thal. He demands direct communication." Lyra stood. "Patch him through to the primary chamber." When she entered the chamber, Thal's hologram already towered over the central dais. His demeanor was no longer polished, tension radiated through every line of his form. "Commander Hale," he began sharply, "your actions constitute an act of war. You disabled our fleets, trespassed on sovereign property, and stole Council labor units." "Refugees," Lyra corrected. "Humans you abducted." Thal's voice deepened. "You misunderstand the Council's authority. Those individuals were slaves," Lyra said. "We have your directives. Signed by your office." His crest flared with annoyance. "Even if such documents exist, their interpretation. We'll let the galaxy interpret them," Lyra replied. "Every file will be public within the hour." Thal froze. "You wouldn't dare." "You forced our hand," Lyra said. "We asked for their location." "You lied." "We asked for cooperation." "You dismissed us." "Now we expose the truth." Thal's expression turned cold. "If you release those documents, you destabilize the entire structure of interspecies governance." "Not my structure," Lyra said. "Not my crime." For a long moment, Thal said nothing. His authority, his composure, even his arrogance seemed to fray. Finally, he whispered, "What do you want?" Lyra stepped closer to the projection, her gaze steady. "Release every captive under your jurisdiction. End the forced labor program. Dissolve the enforcement branch that carried out these abductions. And resign." Thal's voice cracked with disbelief. "You're dismantling the Council." "No," Lyra said. "Your corruption dismantled it. We're just removing the wreckage." Thal bristled. "If I refuse?" Lyra didn't move. "Then your fleets will fall the same way your patrols did, disabled, disarmed, and humiliated. Without a single human casualty." Thal shut the link abruptly. Rourke exhaled. "You think he'll comply?" "No," Lyra said. "But the galaxy will." She activated the broadcast network. Every intercepted directive, every forced labor log, every recorded abuse streamed into open circulation. Civilian channels exploded instantly. Protests erupted within minutes on Council worlds. Member species demanded answers. Some called for dissolution. Others called for trials. The truth spread faster than any fleet. Lyra returned to the bridge. "Set course for Earth," she said. "We're taking our people home. The galaxy will deal with the Council." As the fleet aligned, a final message from an anonymous Council delegate reached her display. "Humanity does not fight like others. You fight with precision and purpose." Perhaps that was what the Council feared most. Lyra closed the message. The stars stretched again as Aegis Prime jumped. Humanity had acted, without mercy, without hesitation, without losing itself. And the galaxy would remember the day Earth came for its own. The journey back to Earth was brief, but the aftermath of the rescue spread across the galaxy like shockwaves moving through deep water. News channels across thousands of systems replayed the leaked Council files without pause. Grainy footage of forced labor camps, intercepted commands from Thal's office, and testimonies from survivors painted an undeniable picture. The Council had not only violated treaties, they had betrayed their own charter. On Aegis Prime, Commander Lyra Hale walked the central corridor as med teams finished relocating the last group of refugees. Some sat quietly, still processing freedom. Others whispered questions about home, work, or those they'd lost. That mixture of relief and disorientation weighed on Lyra, not as a burden but as a reminder of why she couldn't stop now. Admiral Rourke approached from the comms chamber. "We've received transmissions from 11 Council member worlds," he said. "Most are demanding emergency leadership restructuring. Some want Thal removed immediately." Lyra slowed. "And Thal himself?" Rourke folded his arms. "He's holding the Council Citadel under emergency lockdown. Claims he's protecting the integrity of governance. Meaning he's stalled and hoping the crisis will break apart." "Exactly." Lyra resumed walking. "Prepare a channel to the Citadel. He won't like hearing from me again, but this conversation won't be for his benefit." When she entered the command chamber, her officers arranged the display into a panoramic holo showing the Council Citadel, an ivory spire suspended in orbit above Turkin Prime. Its defensive lights glowed a hostile red. Lyra gestured. "Transmit." After a tense delay, Varric Thal appeared. His crest had dulled, and the poised arrogance from before had dissolved into tight restraint. "You've created chaos across half the galaxy," he accused. "Protests, rebellions, diplomatic fractures, do you even comprehend the damage?" Lyra didn't react. "I didn't create this. Your abuses did." Thal's voice flared. "Humanity had no right to release those files." "Humanity had every right," Lyra corrected. "You kidnapped our citizens. You enslaved them. You lied. These consequences belong to you. You think you can tear down the Council and walk away? You've ignited fury among species who depended on our order." Lyra leaned forward slightly. "Order built on secrecy and exploitation isn't order. It's rot. And rot deserves to be exposed." Thal's gaze hardened. "If you continue interfering, Earth will face sanctions beyond anything you've imagined." Lyra raised a hand before Rourke could respond. "Tell me something, Chancellor. If Earth wanted conquest, do you believe your fleets would still be intact?" Thal said nothing. "Your patrols were disabled in minutes," Lyra continued. "Your blockade carrier was neutralized with a non-lethal strike. Imagine what humanity could do if we were trying to hurt you." Thal's voice thinned. "Are you threatening me?" "No," she said. "I'm reminding you of reality." Thal severed the connection with a sharp gesture. Rourke exhaled. "He's cornered. And dangerous." "Cornered individuals make mistakes," Lyra said. "We'll give him enough rope to reveal the next one." Before they could strategize further, a new transmission came through, this one from a council delegate Lyra didn't recognize. The alien spoke quickly, eyes flicking left and right as if terrified of being overheard. "Commander Hale, I speak for several member worlds. We know what Thal did. Many suspected corruption, few understood its scale. Your intervention has given us the leverage we needed." Lyra listened carefully. "What do you want from Earth?" "Assurance," the delegate replied. "Thal is preparing an emergency military resolution. If passed, he gains unilateral authority. We cannot stop him alone." Rourke muttered, "He's trying to crown himself." Lyra folded her hands behind her back. "What assurance do you seek?" "That Earth will intervene if he attempts to use military force against descending species." Lyra exchanged a glance with Rourke. "We will not fight your battles." "We're not asking for battle," the delegate said. "We're asking for deterrence. If Earth broadcasts the evidence of Thal's new resolution before he activates it, his support collapses." Lyra considered it. Direct confrontation risked appearing intrusive, but a broadcast of verified documents wasn't intervention. It was illumination. "Send the evidence," she said. Minutes later, classified files poured into Earth's system, Thal's plans to expand forced labor networks, suppress dissident worlds, and integrate human refugees as bargaining resources. Lyra accessed the fleet-wide channel. Prepare a galaxy-wide broadcast. Visual and text feeds. Timestamp every file. Rourke tapped the console. This will shatter the Citadel. That's the point. The broadcast launched. Across thousands of worlds, screens lit with Thal's plans. His deepest secrets became public knowledge. Gasps echoed in parliaments. Riots intensified. Entire governments withdrew support overnight. By the time Thal reappeared on the comm, his composure had evaporated. Hale! You have destroyed diplomatic order. You have destabilized. No, she said. Truth destabilized you. Thal trembled with a mix of rage and uncertainty. Do you want to lead the galaxy? Is that it? Do humans crave domination? Lyra stepped closer to the projection. Humanity doesn't want to rule. We want accountability. Lies, he shouted. You came into our territory with weapons. We came to retrieve the people you stole, she replied. And we succeeded. Now the galaxy must decide whether you deserve power. Thal's crest snapped upward. If I fall, you will not escape the backlash. Humanity will be isolated. Lyra's response was quiet. We were isolated before. We endured. And will endure again. But your reign ends now. Thal cut the line, leaving only silence. Moments later, the Council Citadel's shields flickered on global feeds. Armored detachments moved within its corridors. Delegates demanded a vote of no confidence. Thal attempted to regain control, but the evidence was overwhelming. Rourke watched the spectacle unfold. He's lost support everywhere. Lyra nodded. He'll either surrender or try something reckless. He didn't surrender. Instead, the Citadel's defense grid shifted, aiming outward. An activation pattern flashed across the matrix. Rourke stiffened. He's powering the override cannons. He'll fire on the protest ships. Lyra stepped forward. Target the Citadel's control nodes. Disable the grid, non-lethal. The fleet moved instantly. Precision lances streaked across space, striking the Citadel's exposed power channels with surgical force. Lights across the massive structure dimmed. The cannons collapsed mid-charge. Inside the Citadel, chaos erupted. Delegates flooded the chamber. Security forces pinned Thal's loyalists. Long-suppressed factions rose in unison. The Chancellor was dragged from the dais by his own guards, no longer obeying him. A final message appeared on Lyra's console. Thal has been detained. A provisional council seeks diplomatic contact with Earth. Rourke let out a long breath. It's over. No, Lyra said softly. It's beginning. He looked at her. What do you mean? Justice for the refugees. Reconstruction of the council. Rules that prevent this from happening again. She turned toward the viewport, watching stars drift past. Humanity didn't come to break the galaxy. We came to make sure no one steals our people again. The fleet sailed onward, carrying the rescued home. Behind them, the Council Citadel dimmed, not destroyed, but reshaped by truth, exposure, and consequence. In the quiet that followed, Lyra closed her eyes. Humanity had acted with precision, restraint, and resolve. And the galaxy now understood.